Greetings, everyone. This is Soul Frame Dancer 98, back at it again with the next part of the Heisei Era Complete History of Super Sentai. Now, we're going to keep on going until we get to the next era, which is Reiwa Era. So, strap yourselves in, because we still got a solid about 20 minutes or so before we get there, so let's get into it.
Where every main ranger goes by a nickname.
Magic Ranger.
In 2005, Toei would head in yet another bold new direction with the wizard-inspired Mahou Sentai Magi Ranger. This show would follow the Ozu family as they utilized their magical abilities to fight against Infertia. This season capitalized on Harry Potter mania by utilizing various themes that you would expect from a magical Sentai, such as magic wands, known as Magi-Sticks, cloaks, and the ability to cast wacky and entertaining spells to turn the tide of battle. Magi Ranger was a fun and whimsical take on the Super Sentai formula.
So I can tell.
Magi Ranger would be adapted into Power Rangers Mystic Force, and Magi Ranger is unique in having the 6th Ranger known as Magi Shine marry a core member of the team in Urara, or Magi Blue. This was the final season to be shot in standard 4:3 aspect ratio, and this was also the final season to be released on VHS. 2006 saw the Super Sentai franchise enter a new era with Go-Go Sentai Bokenger, the first season to be filmed in 720p HD. This show was an anniversary season and featured a team of adventurers as they hunted for treasure and battled against the negative syndicates. With the word Boken meaning adventure, it was clear that Toei wanted to invoke the same sense of exploration and excitement present in Western projects like Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider. Our heroes would search for powerful artifacts called Precious, and the search for these items would often lead our rangers to exotic new locations that gave this show a ton of excitement. Bokenger would be adapted into Power Rangers Operation Overdrive in the West. In addition to the new HD resolution, Bokenger was also notable for having the first 9-piece mecha fusion and a 10-piece mecha fusion.
I won't lie, this kind of the way they had all those vehicles with these guys all being adventurers, as it were, based on the name, kind of reminds me of Hot Wheels Battle Force 5, if anyone remembers that show.
2007 was the year of Juken Sentai Geki Ranger, an incredibly unique kung fu and animal themed season focusing on key and various aspects of Chinese mythology. In this series, our heroes would utilize their powers to battle against the evil schools of martial arts. Geki Ranger had a new tone that was completely unlike anything that preceded it, and even featured a cool new wolf-themed Violet Ranger. This show was adapted into Power Rangers Jungle Fury in the US and was released as a dubbed version in South Korea as Power Rangers Wild Spirits. This was the first Sentai to not feature belts on the Rangers' suits, and also the last season to only have 5 total Rangers.
Well, there we go.
2008 was a high-octane thrill ride with Engine Sentai Go-Onger, another car-themed Sentai with an eccentric cast, explosive action, and tons of hilarious comedy. This series followed a group of heroes chosen by mechanical beings called engines to become Go-Onger and fight against the Gaiark. In addition to vehicles, Go-Onger also featured an animal motif and incorporated themes like pollution and conservationism. Every element of the show is enhanced by a charismatic cast and a story that's consistently fun and entertaining. Go-Onger would be adapted into Power Rangers RPM, and this is the first Sentai season to feature 2 6th Rangers in Go on Wings, consequently making it the first season with a female 6th Ranger as well.
Well, there we go.
2009 would see the release of a Super Sentai season with a brand new samurai theme in Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. This show follows samurai clan leader Takeru Shiba and his loyal retainers as they henshin into Shinkenger and fight against the Godoshu. Shinkenger sliced a special place for itself within the franchise due to it being so different from many of the other seasons. This show would creatively add the lighthearted Sentai formula to a classic Japanese drama, and somehow it worked perfectly. Shinkenger's entertaining formula proved to be extremely successful with fans, with the show's likable cast, well-choreographed action, and traditional Japanese style, making this one of the most popular seasons in history. Shinkenger would also be featured in an exciting and memorable crossover with Kamen Rider Decade, a first for both franchises.
Well,
Shinkenger was adapted into Power Rangers Samurai in the West, and this show famously featured a temporary female Red Ranger in Princess Kaoru. As time has gone on, Shinkenger has cemented itself as a truly legendary entry into the franchise. In 2010, Toei would try to follow up on Shinkinger's success with a brand new angelic Sentai in Tenso Sentai Goseiger. This show follows a group of Gosei angels as they fight against the evil spirits, and incorporates a playing card theme into the formula. Although Goseiger never reached the same heights as Shinkinger, this show would still deliver a lot of things that made Sentai popular, including a charming cast, a lot of exciting action, and a sense of wonder. Goseiger was adapted into Power Rangers Megaforce in the West. Goseiger is also unique in the fact that the Red Ranger, Alata, is not officially recognized as a leader. In fact, there isn't an official leader of this team. This was also the first season where all of the Rangers on the team use cards to Henshin, as opposed to just one of the Rangers, as was the case with Magi Shine of Magi Ranger. Although Goseiger isn't remembered as well as Shinkinger or some other seasons in the franchise, there was a lot of quality in the series, and it did a good job continuing the legacy of Super Sentai.
Yeah, I remember Megaforce being a bit of a mess, especially when they kind of forced Gokai Ranger in there as another form for them. Oof. Yeah, I feel like the US dropped the bomb on that one.
In 2011, the world wasn't ready for the phenomenon known as Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger, a pirate-themed anniversary season and one of the most popular Sentai seasons of all time. This season follows a group of charismatic space pirates as they take on the evil space empire Zongyak. This season celebrates the rich history of Sentai and incorporates many elements, characters, and suit designs from previous seasons. In fact, the Gokaigers themselves had the ability to henshin into all of the previous Rangers from the series by utilizing various Ranger keys. Gokaiger was led by Captain Marvelous, an eccentric anti-hero with no fear and tons of style and flair. This team is extremely endearing, despite them not always acting like heroes. These Rangers take what they want by force, but defend what they believe in fiercely, and always make a show of things.
So, One Piece.
This season was so popular that Gokaiger would appear in more crossover and team-up projects than any other season in history, and it would be adapted into Power Rangers Super Megaforce in the West. This was also the first Sentai season to be released on Blu-ray. 2001 also saw the release of the biggest Sentai film of all time in 199 Hero Great Battle, an explosive and highly entertaining celebration of Super Sentai. This film features 199 heroes from the history of Super Sentai, and it feels like a climax to the entire franchise.
Yes!
This movie, of course...
I actually saw this one. You can see my, if you can find it somewhere in my Sentai roll call, I believe I put it in there. Yeah, I actually reacted to the 199 Heroes like final battle scene where they're all going at it.
Features a ton of Rangers in costume, but we also see a few unhenshined that we haven't seen in a long time. It's excellent fan service, and longtime fans of the franchise will definitely enjoy it. It's something that set this huge movie apart from all the other ones. At this point, it's considered an absolute classic. Toei would continue to ride the wave of Gokaiger's success in 2012 with another huge crossover movie in Gokaiger vs. Gavin. This movie was the company's attempt at introducing Space Sheriff Gavin from the retired Metal Hero series to a new generation, and by teaming up with Gokaiger, they would do just that. This movie sees Gavin attempting to capture the Gokaigers, but eventually he himself becomes captured by a group of villains, and the Gokaigers have to rescue him. This movie heavily leans into the popularity of Gokaiger, and there is a staggering amount of fan service here. Legendary Toku actor Kinji Oba reprised his role as Gavin, and we even have appearances from his other famous roles as Battle Kenya and Denji Blue. And if that wasn't enough, we were even treated to an appearance from the next Sentai series. 2012's official Sentai series was Tokume Sentai Go Busters, a slick new Sentai themed around technology and spies. This series introduced a lot of new concepts, like the Rangers having machine partners and the numerous references to the Western Power Rangers franchise, due to this being the 20th anniversary of Zyuranger, the show that was adapted into the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. In this series, our heroes would battle against Vaglas. The style of the show was fresh and exciting, and continued the streak of excellent seasons in recent years. Go Busters was originally skipped over for a Power Rangers adaptation, but after Hasbro bought the Power Rangers brand, Go Busters would be adapted into Power Rangers Beast Morphers and debut in 2019. This was the first season where the suits are made of leather, and the first season where the team's name is plural. And Go Busters even featured Hiroya Matsumoto as Masato Jin, or Beatbuster, returning to the franchise years after playing Tsubasa Ozu or Magi Yellow in Magi Ranger.
Well, there we go. Yeah, the Beast Morphers here in the States, it has its moments, but you can definitely tell it's definitely aiming for the younger audience. Ooh.
Also released in 2012 was a huge new film project to commemorate the 10th anniversary of TV Asahi's Superhero Time, Superhero Taisen, which would focus mostly on Gokaiger, the Go Busters, Kamen Rider Decade, Folze, and Oz. This movie focuses on Captain Marvelous as he seeks to gain the ultimate power in the universe while commanding the Daizangyak fleet. At the same time, Kamen Rider Decade leads Daishocker on a campaign to destroy all Sentais. This movie featured a ton of fan service for fans of both Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, and Marvelous vs. Decade would be an absolute treat for fans.
Oh god. Akiba Ranger.
In 2012, we also got a hilarious new Sentai spin-off in Hikonin Sentai Akiba Ranger, a parody of the franchise. Being aimed at older fans of the series, Akiba Ranger was crude, creative, and unapologetically unique. This show would feature many elements and characters from the series, albeit with a very different tone than what fans were used to. This show is very meta in the way that it focuses on the team's delusions, and it makes it so you oftentimes don't know what's real and what's a delusion. This is the first Sentai where both the Yellow and Blue Rangers are female, it is the shortest Sentai, and it's the first one meant for mature audiences. This show also got a second season, a first for the franchise.
More you know.
2013 marked the franchise's third Dino-themed season, with Juden Sentai Kyoryuger, the first season to be broadcast in 1080p Full HD. Kyoryuger wowed fans with its energetic presentation and large cast of likable characters. And speaking of the large cast, there are 11 protagonist Rangers in this series, the most ever at the time.
Who would I miss?
The title of the show is actually a reference to Zyuranger because they basically have the same name but reversed. Juden Sentai Kyoryuger versus Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger. This show would be adapted into Power Rangers Dino Charge and Super Charge. Although this series had disappointing viewership numbers, its toy sales were exceptional, and Super Sentai was alive and healthy in 2013.
Well, there we go.
Also in 2013, we got the first ever 10 Years After movie of the franchise, Hurricaneger 10 Years After. This takes place 10 years after the show, and would catch us up with what the Rangers were up to in 2013. This was fun to see where they are now, including Ikko's new band, and Kota being a father now. This was an excellent celebration for fans of Hurricaneger.
That was like a fun time.
2014 brought us Resha Sentai Tokuger, an imaginative and heartfelt Sentai season themed around trains. Tokuger offered fans a lighthearted and fun experience, complete with a charming cast that fans would largely respond well to. Despite this, the TV ratings were once again below Toei's expectations, and this series would be skipped over entirely by Power Rangers in the West. This season featured the Rangers' ability to swap colors with each other, and featured the first Orange Ranger since Battle Fever J. In 2015, Toei introduced what would prove to be one of the least popular seasons in the history of Sentai, with Shuriken Sentai Ninja, another ninja-themed season. This show was adapted into Power Rangers Ninja Steel / Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel in the West, and Ninja featured a lot of comedy and lighthearted antics with a focus on ninjas not hiding. But the cast and story unfortunately never connected with fans in the same way as other seasons.
I was gonna ask how.
After this, we were treated to Deca Ranger 10 Years After, in which 10 years after the show, after the Rangers have gone their separate paths, the Rangers have to investigate a corrupt head of SPD, as well as the evil Neo Deca Red and Neo Deca Yellow. This was a story that showcased the detective skills of the Rangers and put them in a scenario that's slightly different from the ones we had seen previously.
ジャスミンはエスパーである。その手を通して人の心が読み取れるのだ。
Deca Ranger was one of the most successful Super Sentai seasons of all time, and the quality that made it successful would continue with this film. In 2016 saw the release of an animal-themed Sentai with a bit of Minecraft thrown in for good measure. This was Dobutsu Sentai Zyuoger, a 40th anniversary season. This series followed a group of humans and Zhumins, who are animal-like creatures, as they take on the space outlaws Death Galleon. This season, although somewhat divisive, still saw an uptick in viewership, and the Zhumins, cubic theming, and the suit designs made this one of the most unique seasons of all time. In 2017, Sentai fans would go on an epic space journey with the biggest and one of the most unique teams in history, Uchu Sentai Kyuranger. Kyuranger featured the largest team size in history as they take on the space shogunate Dark Matter. This was one of the most unique seasons of Sentai ever, and it would have a larger international reach than other recent seasons, as Kyuranger would air in Indonesia for the first time since Gingaman. Elements of the season would be adapted into Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. This show is notable for the actress Mao, who previously played Luca Milfi / Gokai Yellow in Gokaiger, returning to the franchise to do the voice of Washi Pink. Kyuranger was set in a universe dominated by the villain faction. It features themes and equipment based on the constellations, and with 12 Rangers featured in the show, this was an incredibly unique and memorable season.
No kidding, I didn't bigger than the... Oh.
2018 brought us the first Sentai season to feature 2 opposing teams in the Cops and Robbers themed Kaito Sentai Lupin Ranger versus Keisatsu Sentai Pat Ranger. This season featured a team of thieves in Lupin Ranger and a team of cops in Pat Ranger as they take on each other. The concept of featuring 2 teams of Rangers was incredibly unique on its own, but this show even had a 6th Ranger referred to as X, who was part of both teams, a first for the franchise. Pat Ranger was the first Sentai team without a Blue Ranger, this was the first season without an outro song, and this was the last season to date that featured the word Ranger in its title.
Oh.
Kicking off 2019 was a huge 4-part miniseries featuring Rangers from throughout the franchise's history in the 4-week continuous special Super Sentai Strongest Battle. This series featured a tournament in which Rangers from Sentai history would battle against each other to have a wish granted. Rangers from different teams would be mixed together to create cool new Ranger combos, and this miniseries was heavily focused on delivering fan service to the audience. This small project was a great intermission between Lupin Ranger vs. Pat Ranger and the next main Sentai series that would follow. Later in 2019, we would see the release of another Dino-themed Sentai and the final season to debut in the Heisei Era with Kishiryu Sentai U-Soldier. This series returned to the Dino theme, but this time with a much more aggressive look. This show featured the U-Soldiers fighting against Druidon. This season of Sentai would be adapted into Power Rangers Dino Fury. U-Soldier also featured familiar elements mixed with some fresh new ideas, and this was the first Sentai to feature a Brown Ranger.
So that's the end of the Heisei Era, huh, with Ryu Soldier. Interesting. So yeah, honestly, the Dino Fury one, it's not bad. They leaned a bit too heavily into the comedic aspects, I feel, here in the States, but it still captured more of, like, I feel similar to, like, Power Rangers in space, I guess. Like, it actually had a villain that technically was just a man trying to get revenge until he was betrayed by his own lover because she couldn't let go of her vengeance and thus turned on him. Fun times. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of these guys. I definitely want to rewatch 199 Heroes Battle and see the Kamen Rider Super Sentai crossover, the Great Tensei Hero Battle. That sounds good. In the meantime, let me know down in the comments below if you guys have any other movie recommendations for me to do for the Toku series, or if you guys want me to do a reaction to some clips from a movie of some sort. And let me know down in the comments below if there's a show from Super Sentai you want me to start reacting to on the channel using the comments. I do read all comments. As you guys can tell by my likes and hearts and everything like that, whatever it is in the comments, please just let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next episode as we go on to the Reiwa era of Super Sentai. You guys take care. I'll see you on the next video. Bye!